Okay, let's talk about the general maintenance and operation of the 250Z. So let's begin with how to cock the gun. So to cock the gun, you raise the bolt up, pull it back until it clicks. Once your gun is cocked, your gun will ship with a single shot tray. And if you want to use that tray, then you can load the ammunition in there, move the bolt forward, let her down, and then you're cocked and ready to go. For inserting the magazine, you'll have to remove the single shot tray. And you'll see the magazine has this clear plastic side that will go toward the shooter. And basically it's going to be inserted from the left side of the gun. And there is a slot and a magnet that you have to make sure that you have lined up. And if your magazine was loaded, you'd be able to press the bolt home. In this case, it does have the blocking feature to where if you're out, you won't be able to press the bolt forward. Let's talk about how to load the magazine. So let's get some ammunition. We sell these Clyde pellets. These are a heavy pellet. I do recommend trying these out in both 22 and 25. I've had really good success with those. They kind of help tame the high velocities. And so basically to do this, you're going to take the magazine and you are going to rotate it around. And the first pellet that you put in, you want to make sure the nose is pointing toward you, and you're going to drop it in on the black side. And once you've got that set in there, now that pellet will hold the spring tension. You then flip it over, and now you make sure that the nose is pointing away from you, and you drop them in one by one. In 25 caliber, what I'm loading here, you get 9 rounds. In 22, you get 10. And now your magazine is all loaded. So that's how you load the magazines. They can then be inserted into the gun. So let's move on to the next topic. Now that the gun is pointing toward you, let's go ahead and talk about how to put air into your gun. So you do have a fill probe that ships with your rifle, and it has these 2 O-rings. And you don't want to go overboard on lubrication, but basically you'll get a little drop of oil on there, and just very lightly, don't overdo it, just a little bit of oil on those O-rings. That will then press into here. Try to go straight on. You want to make sure that you don't tear those O-rings going in. Press it in. Now you're able to hook it up to either a hand pump or a compressor. This does hold 322 cc's of air plus the plenum, so having a hand pump, it's a real chore to air it up. This is probably better used with a compressor unless you just really enjoy exercise. So that's how you add air. You pay attention to this gauge. You'll see that the 2 gauges will read differently. This gauge here tells you how much unregulated air pressure you have. The second gauge here shows you the regulator output. And so it will fill up to a point, and then it's going to stop right around 2,000, 2,200 PSI. So don't be alarmed if they read differently from each other. That is normal. If they read the same, then you probably have an issue with your regulator, and that'll be a whole nother thing to go through. Okay, so that's how you add air to the gun. How do you take air out of the gun? Let's say that you want to clean the barrel or you want to do some other work on it. You should never work on a pressurized gun under most circumstances. So if you're going to clean the barrel, it's safest to do so by making sure that you have a degassed gun. So basically what you're going to want in order to degas the gun is you're going to need a 2.5mm hex key. And we'll flip the gun facing this way toward you. And you'll see this hole here. You'll be able to place that hex key in that hole, and you'll be able to undo that screw. And you'll undo that screw, you'll let it off gas. You need to make sure that you take care to make sure everything's come out of the regulated side of the gun. So once you no longer hear hissing, give it a few dry fires and make extra certain that all the air is out of the system. Once you've done that, then you can move on to doing things such as cleaning the barrel. I do recommend that you clean the barrel right out of the box. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and open the bolt. I personally prefer to use just a simple brass rod with no brushes on there. The reason for that is you've got an O-ring back here that seals the bolt. And if you put a big old bristly brush on there and you go shoving it through, you're going to lose that O-ring. And this is a 25 caliber gun. I'm using patches that are made for 17 caliber. up to 22 caliber. And so usually what I'll do is I'll just double these up, and this allows me to use my standard 177 and 22 cleaning kit with the 25 caliber gun. And so you just press that over, insert it into the barrel gently. And again, using brass, you're using something that's softer than the steel used for the barrel. I do try to center it with my fingers. You're just going to press that through until it pops out. And you'll see here why I really recommend that you clean your barrel. You see all that dirt on there. So you want to make sure you get that out of there. And if you can't get it out with dry patches, adding just a tiny bit of ballistol is a good way to work up some of that excess gunk that tends to be in the barrels straight from the manufacturer. So get all that junk out of there, follow it up with some dry patches, and you'll be ready to shoot.